Hello. It's very nice to see this place functioning again. This is a fort that we spent 4 or 5 days at about 10 to 14 hours a day slaving over. This is the gate that we use. It's a time delay mechanism, and even though you can't see it, we had to use slime blocks in order to make everything move properly. So, really, it's a simple time delay mechanism. Now that that's done, let's move on to here. This giant complex is the smithy, and down there is where we store all our metal. We will delve into that later. For now, though, this is the actual part where we smelt metal. We have cauldrons here for quenching the metal, anvils for shaping it, and furnaces for melting it. For why we didn't stack these is a mystery. In here is where we would store our completed tools, raw metal, etc., etc. Over here, where you can see me spraying at, is an armory, one of several in this complex, that we use for storing muskets and ammunition, wadding, powder, etc., etc. And down here is where we store our metal. And as you can see, it's as well as you can't see because the camera has night vision. This is very dark. One thing to know about armories, though, that we really had to because, well, convenience, is that there should be no fire or anything that can cause a fire in a powder magazine. It would literally blow up most of the fort, as has happened in several forts here. Over here we have a shed where we store supplies and stuff. It's rather threadbare at the moment because reason. Another thing that we had to keep in mind was self-sufficiency, which is the main reason why we have this wheat farm. And over here is something I'd lovingly term a bunker of inhumanities. Enter this place and you'll see it is jam-packed with as many beds as we could fit in here. Now if you follow me through this cavern, you will see that the second floor is very much the same as the first floor. And the floor after that. Luckily, we only have 3 floors in here, but you can imagine what it's like to live in here at night. Yeah, it's not pretty. Disease would be rampant. Now, anyways, if you follow me to more positive climes, here we have the governor's home. This is where the governor would live. I mean, wait, come back here. Anyways, this is the governor's home. This is where he would live, and because he's fancy, rich, and probably aristocratic, we gave him glass windows, a rarity in those days, and admittedly something we had to replace several times. We won't talk about that. Here's another armory, and again, no torches in an arsenal. That's where we messed up. Over here is another bunker with much the same layout as the inhumanity behind the arsenal we just visited. And if you want, we can take a tour inside. The guy has a table with a tablecloth, candles absolutely everywhere, including underneath the stairs for some reason, a storage chest, additional night vision from the cameraman, and a very large bed with bookshelves. And carpet everywhere. And also, I just noticed, it's in the French tricolor. Over here, we have what I believe... Yes, I believe this is the barracks. One thing we forgot to do? Oh, right. Right, the women's quarters. Now, to be more civil toward the woman, we decided to put them in a separate housing, for obvious reasons. Now, if you'll follow me over here, and arguably, this is the part that made me lose a lot of standing with the SPCA, so... For now, let's take a look in here. Over here, we have another shed. And over here, we have general storage, the largest building in this facility. Now, for ease of moving heavy stuff around, like hose, shovels, sacks of seed, grain, the like, we made it relatively open, but normally, I would just fill as much as it could be humanly possible to move it. Now here is the pride and joy of our complex. A fully functioning farm complete with beetroots, potatoes, wheat, and we did not have pumpkins, but the main reason why we have these is for diversity. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the main reason why we have such a diverse selection of food is to make sure that if should a blight strike, we should not be starving. All right, we had potatoes, we had pumpkins, as you can see right there, and as you can see me. Well, I just trampled the harvest. Well, let's get out of here before the populace kills me. Now, the main part about me losing standing to the SPCA is what we're getting to now. And you really don't want to know why, but suffice it to say that going inside this place is the definition of ear rape. Anyways, here's the barn with fodder up there for the animals and a positively inhumane amount of cows jammed into a tight space. Seriously. Also, don't ask about the horses, but these things took longer to get in here from the cows. Because they're more likely to spawn as babies. That was out of spite. Oh boy. Next, we get to the walls. Now, if you'll follow me over here as I start sprinting. Let's just move. Now climb. Also, don't contemplate why you heard an AR-12, an AK-12. Now up here we have the watchtower that watches the waterways. Now the main reason why we didn't. This is very nice. It looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, but you're gonna be wondering about what was going through our minds when we created this massive in the wall. And you might think, oh no, it's not a good idea. What if the British climb over? And frankly, that's what we were considering as well. This is very nice because if their cannon is knocked through the first player and the British storm through, we have a convenient place in which to dump nasty things on them, like boiling tar. You'll find this format is same for most of the wall that's facing the sea. And over here we have a small mound of rock that we really couldn't be bothered to do anything else. Now, more night vision, please. Now let's move on to the seagoing part of this. Now normally for more complicated, for smaller shipments, we would use a canoe or an oxen train. But on occasions where that is simply not possible due to how large the thing is, we have our mobile galleon, designed to hold nothing but cargo and the occasional set of animals, depending on our condition. Now, as you can see here, this place is very compact and jam-packed with places to hold stuff. Also, there are torches everywhere for some reason. Let's just pray the crew's not down here for long, because they will probably die of asphyxiation. Now, moving back up through here, you can see that it's a very compact place, with some cannons, just in case the British get any funny ideas. Now, let's move back toward the interior of the fort. Over there in the distance, you will see the towers. The towers that I am currently... Right. These towers have cannons in them, a ridiculous amount per tower. And we had a very amusing nickname for these during construction, but I won't divulge it for fear of sending the entire class into paroxysms of laughter. All of them have the French tricolor on top, and there's also a secret reference to one of our more mentally unstable compatriots over here that we should all dwell over for a few minutes. Wise words. Now, let's move on to how we made this. We used a Minecraft flat world for this because, arguably, we couldn't be bothered with building this in an actual world, which would take too many resources. Right. This place has a lot of stuff. There are armories practically everywhere, including behind one of the bunkers, which is maybe not bunkers, barracks would be the proper term. I'm coming over. Eh. Oh dear. Sorry if I can't find a cameraman, this is rather complicated. Over here we have yet another storage for in case our harvest is too plentiful. We lost a lot of food production for this, but arguably it's done well. Also, I think I'm gonna chuck poison gas in. This is where we store our trade items as well, because you can trade food with the locals as well. Also, we have a hole in the floor. Eh. Anyways, let's move on. As to how we made this thing, let's just say it took a lot of explosive. Those will come in time, my friend. Over here, with the spot where I'm at, where I'm contemplating chucking grenades at, is the trade post. This is where we will do most of our trading with the natives, and even though they may not be as interested in furs as, say, the Huron and the Iroquois, we are still going to be trading much with them. And here we have our trade post, a place for the trader to sit, for both parties to sit down, an access door where they can hand out all the goods, and where they keep the good stuff. So if you excuse me, I have to go fetch something. And apparently the cameraman's indulging his appetites. You sound very hungry, sir. Alright, let's go. Also, before I go, please don't ask what I'm throwing. But stay away from that area. Anyways, let's take a look inside one of the carrots. Wait, what? Ignore what just came out of my mouth. Let's take a look inside a tower. Now over here we have a staircase, and falling down may be a hazard, but really once you're on the second floor you won't be doing much of that unless the tower gets blown up. Here we store our cannon, along with what presumably must be bags of gunpowder and cannonballs. Second floor, much the same story, ends with the third floor. I think these things have an Operation Health glitch. Anyways, let's move back toward one of the smaller towers, or as we termed them, the carrots. Because frankly, we were hungry. What can I say? You also don't really want to know what that is. Like I said, you really don't want to know what that is. Here is one of the smaller towers. This is more compact and arguably easier to use. Here you can see it is facing out toward a massive lake. If you take a look out the window. On the lake, what's the difference? Here we actually have an open viewport, which could be a danger for you to British marksmen. Up here we have a very nice top floor. Which is laden with torches, and a good reason why not to store gunpowder. Also, ignore what that sound was. I'm sorry, I can't get down here. Run. Here's another way into this is the trade post. Now let me close the door in case I run in here again. Over here is one of our larger armories. And if you can see that each tower has the French, and the governor's house has a French tricolor. Now, if you would like, let's move on to making this thing, because arguably I don't know what else to put. We used a flatboard for this, and because, well, alright, the docks. The cameraman is constantly reminding me of what I'm forgetting. Here we have our seaport, which is where we store our noble galleon, and also a maintenance facility with trapdoors everywhere, because frankly you don't want to be in there for long with molten tar. I can assure you that is not healthy for a human being. Same thing, like if you're fishing, you really do not want to be close quarters of a bunch of rotting. Also, don't ask why I'm holding it on. Here we have gates for the ship to leave harbor. And also some very, very nice gravel. You may not be able to see this, and for that, I'm probably going to need to blow the cameraman a sniper scope, but thank you. Now, over there in the distance is something we should have taken care of. It's the remnants of one of the villages we were leveling while making them. Down here we have... Anyways, inside here is where we store a bunch of rotten fish. And the main reason why it's so threadbare is because we need the space for the fish. And frankly, like, even though you're not doing it as much as say, for example, what we'd be doing in the maritime regions, we're still on the St. Lawrence River, and it's a short trip off of Bluebird to the ideal fishing ground. Now let's move on to how we made this thing. We had to use a flat world because we arguably did not want to do any much more than this. You can already see, it might not look it, but this took us several days to create. Now, the main reason why we had to do this was in order to blast holes in the floor for the lake. And now with the cameraman will follow me over here, the weapons mod that we installed enabled us to lie flat on the ground, which also enabled us to dig 1 block high tunnels and well, shove them full of TNT, which you then light off with a grenade. The main reason why we wanted to do it this way is because arguably just digging 1 block high tunnels and packing them with TNT is a little more efficient, and therefore saves our hands from developing carpal tunnel. Then digging 2 block high tunnels, packing them full of TNT, and then lighting it off. In general, this was for efficiency. This world had a lot of shortcuts. And first of all, you'll notice that the fact that this is remarkably sterile, and that's for a good reason. We had to disable mob spawning and bump off every single mob spawning and bump off everything that spawned. Anyways, looking from down here, you will see that this place has some very nice lakes. So, fun for the children. Ponds, lakes, right. A pond is a small lake. Anyways, this is nice for where the children play, and also, let me just scoop out the contents of this chest. Your pardon me, I have many things to organize. So, as you can see from looking over here, there is a massive stretch of tower that lies undefended. And the main reason being, it's actually a good reason. The British will storm these places and fall right down into the farm below and break their necks. A crude yet convenient way of disposing of the British that actually climb over the wall. Looking from over here, you will notice that this is very, very compact, and this is for good reason. We weren't building in some of the usual places like Hudson's Bay or somewhere near the maritime fishing regions, or trading with the natives like the Iroquois or the Huron. Instead, we're in a place that we're actually just outside of Quebec, which is the main reason why we don't need to build a fort that's large and much. But in case of a siege, this place would actually be one of the best places to be. You've got a lot of food. You've got many places to hide in case the British come, and you also have a lot of firewood you can chop down. You also have a lot of firewood. Oh, right. You can just chuck flammable. Yeah. Anyways, we should probably take a look at how the gate operates next. Victor, if you would do the honors of breaking down the redstone and explaining. Oh, right. You really don't want to do it because it took a long time to set up. Anyways, underneath, like I said, underneath here is the unholy redstone mechanism that makes this thing work, and it was annoying to get started. Also, stop flicking the lever. Now, one of the few shortcomings of this is we can't really spawn some mobs you would expect us to because it would glitch out the map. Let me demonstrate with a Vindicator. I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Anyways, normally when we have Vindicator, when we spawn some mobs, they would glitch out a lot of the redstone. So, we usually will spawn them, if only to check that the server isn't going to crash on them. That's basically the entire fort. And one more thing, these trapdoors that you see here are reinforcements for the fort. And also, one more thing, and I'm adding it arguably out of not only out of sight, but also for comedic value. During construction, we dubbed these things the chungus and the carrots. I kid you not, we literally were bored. And it's not that obvious, but we were just making a lot of chungus jokes, and it got out of hand. Very much got out of hand. Now, a lot of this was designed from a blueprint to be very, very compact, and and as such, we were playing around. I mean, we built this in a game, so you can literally say we were playing around. But really, like when we were building this, like we just planned for just everything being really, really compact, and as you can see, this entire place is very easy to defend and very hard to take. Also, one more. Don't forget, this also blocks the primary trade route to Quebec and to the Iroquois, barring overland travel. This means that the British are going to have to go through us, pay our levies, and etc., etc., etc. Also, time to explain the geographical significance of our location. We chose to base ourselves in what is now east of Godbout in Quebec. The main reason why is because it's basically up the river from Quebec City, which would allow us to not spend so much energy in sending stuff home. Now, one more thing to note here. One more thing to note here is that this fort has its shortcomings, and one of which arguably is natives. Like, we aren't trading with as many popular tribes as, for example, the Iroquois or the Huron, and as such, but that also gives its advantages in that we don't need to be part of their politics. And when the natives do come over, they'll most likely be bringing, like, fish and other things, like stuff that we will need, like salted fish, just a lot of trade commodities in general. Also, we also are going to need a lot of fruit to maintain this place because I don't think we have access to spruce out here. Also, while building this, we accidentally blasted several holes in the floor, and in the world itself. Well, the cameraman is asking me if I can stop, and arguably, that is basically all that we have to say about here. And also, one more thing. Because why not?